This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Is the After Party live on a Trivia Thursday, and thank you for being here, for being patient, for hanging out, and for just being the awesome people that you are. I'd love to hang out with you for this 45 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes. We kind of range there on the After Party Live. And yeah, hi Ricky, nice to see you. And thank you again for the waterfall and for the great messages that you've sent. And thank you, Mama, for this message. Out of curiosity, she says, I went on one of those AI guess my ethnicity sites and they got it wrong every time. And that's what Sarah was saying on Mark's show. It can't be trusted yet. It's not ready yet. And so I don't think, there's some people that say within a year, we're all going to be replaced by AI and it's smarter than us already. And I don't know. I think it has a lot of kinks still to be worked out. I have trivia today that is totally random. Never know what kind of question you're going to get, and also some military trivia as well. So that is coming up. But first, let's get to this big story about this shipwreck. I'm fascinated by this. When you think of a shipwreck and the treasure that could be found and the pirates' treasure, you think of what they found. I mean, usually it's not as great as this, right? But look at that old chest overflowing with old silver coins. That's not all they found. They found some gold as well. Gold chunks, gold coins, giant, is it a ruby or garnet? I don't know, some such. I mean, this is a trove. This was found off the coast of Florida, $1 million worth of coins recovered in this Spanish shipwreck. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to find a treasure, an old treasure chest to crack open, this is the kind of stuff you hope is inside. This company called 1715 Fleet Queen Jewels. So they, when they named their company, they were already setting themselves up for success. They said they recovered these coins in July off the southeastern region of Florida, which is an area called the Treasure Coast. They think this is all part of this $400 million worth of gold, silver, and jewels lost by the Spanish fleet during a hurricane in 1715. The leader of the company says the discovery is not only about the treasure itself, but the stories it tells. Each coin, a piece of history, a tangible link to the people who lived, worked, and sailed during the golden age of the Spanish Empire. He said finding 1,000 coins in a single recovery is both rare and extraordinary. I mean, look at all that. Yes, please. Imagine sticking your hand in there and coming out with a scoop full of priceless old coins. Super cool. The coins are called pieces of 8. They were minted in the Spanish colonies of Mexico, Peru, and Bolivia. Many of them still have the dates and mint marks visible on them. And so they're important to historians and to people who collect such things. The company also says the condition of these coins suggests they were part of a single chest or shipment that spilled when the ship broke apart in the fury of the hurricane. The coins were found scattered in a concentrated area deep in the sand. They are believed to have once been in a container, and some of them bear the pattern of a burlap sack printed on them. So they say they think the coins must have been in wooden boxes, which makes sense because the box would have degraded in the ocean. And once the box degrades, the sack degrades, and the only thing that's left are the silver coins. One of the coins, or one of the items found along with the coins, is a royal lead seal with the impression of Philip II of Spain, who ruled in the mid to late 1500s. They say you can almost assume it's a family heirloom. This lead seal probably had an important document around it that may have given that family title to lands or positions. And there was a gemstone and fragments of a gold chain also recovered as well. Gold recovered from the remains off of Vero Beach, Florida. Mm. Right now, the coins are undergoing careful conservation before they will be displayed to the public. The plans are underway for select pieces to be exhibited at museums in Florida. They are committed, they say, to preserving and studying artifacts so future generations can appreciate their historical significance. I don't know how it works in America. In other countries, if you find some artifact that is very valuable, the country gets part of it, like the, antiquities department gets most of the money and you kind of get a finder's fee or a percentage of it. But in this particular case, I think the company might benefit. So I would think with all these coins, something's going up for auction. Don't you think? I mean, golden chains and jewels. They're cataloging each one of these coins. You can see them in different states, in different conditions, but all stamped. Super cool. It's the shipwreck you want to find. So let's stay in the sea for a hot second and talk about troublesome sharks. Are all sharks troublesome? Not particularly. It's the ones that are repeat biters. They got a surfer and then they got a kite boarder, something like this. Are they is it just an accident that this happened, that maybe the same shark bit twice? Maybe these sharks, they often will attack when they think a human is a seal. Maybe it's just kind of bad timing. Maybe their sensors are off. Maybe they're just doing what sharks do. Sharks, this is their nature. But, and this is where scientists kind of separate on this. There's a plan to catch repeat biters, the sharks that are repeat biters. And scientists are saying, wait a minute, why would we do this? There might be some sharks that are more bold, that have learned maybe when they were younger that humans are prey. And some researchers say if you can identify these troublesome sharks, these repeat offenders, and remove them, that it might then be better for the shark population as a whole, because then other authorities wouldn't try to cull sharks when they see them. But other scientists say, no, you know what? No, that doesn't make any sense. This is not how we should be treating animals. They're just doing what they're supposed to be doing. So why would we punish them for that? I have another great shark picture to show you. Look at that one. I don't necessarily think they're troublesome sharks. It seems to me they're doing what they do. I don't know how we could expect anything different from them. But a marine sensory ecologist in Australia says there are some specific sharks that seem to have developed a propensity for biting people, though it is a controversial thought among marine scientists. Some say the concept of problem animals is well established on land. Problem lions, problem tigers, problem bears. If they repeat offenders, get dealt with harshly. So why not a fish? Fish have cognitive abilities as well. Some scientists are saying, no, the whole concept of a problem shark is ridiculous. They say merely talking about problem sharks could push this idea that some sharks are hungry, human eating monsters. And that's just not true. The whole Jaws thing. But there's research being done right now trying to identify problem sharks. And apparently, there's a small number of animals involved in a recent study. And again, it's this very polarizing idea among scientists. Some people think we shouldn't even be doing this type of research at all. Plus, even if you could identify a problem shark, some scientists say, think about the realities of trying to capture a shark and bring it to justice. Even if scientists could prove beyond a doubt that a few specific sharks are responsible for a string of incidents, finding those sharks really wouldn't be viable. That using resources to track down problem sharks would be better spent on preventative measures like lifeguards who could actually spot the sharks approaching on a busy beach area. But other scientists say removing a problem shark is better than culling large numbers of them. So, I don't know. Problem sharks. Kind of silly, in my opinion. Um, Also a little silly. Look at this python. I'm not a fan of creepy crawly snakes, but I will admit the patterns on this snake are super cool. This snake was found at an In-N-Out drive-through in Southern California. Maybe not where you want to see one of these things. Yeah. This python was found at the Southern California In-N-Out, 4 feet long, 3.6 pounds. It was an In-N-Out that had just opened as well uh, in Pasadena. An employee spotted this python slithering through the drive-through, and they took matters into their own hands. Apparently, they were not scared. They picked up the snake, took it to the Humane Society shelter. And they say this snake appears to be well taken care of. Didn't look hungry, and they thought it looked like a snake that maybe recently escaped its home. So they were looking for the guardian of the snake. But of course, let the jokes commence, right? They posted it on social media, people responding, double double with a shake, not a snake. Somebody said this is one of the most SoCal posts they've ever seen. When I ordered animal style fries, this is not what I meant. Of course. Yeah. I had to do this next story, if only because of the picture. Look at this little Highland coo. It's a Scottish cow. And it was found wandering loose in Connecticut. This miniature Scottish Highland bull on the run, 3 feet tall. Left his home on a Connecticut farm and has repeatedly been spotted several miles from home. His name is Lefty. Lefty had just arrived at this farm, at his new home, when apparently he was spooked by another bull and managed to squeeze underneath a barbed wire fence that was designed for larger cows. And now he's on the run. At least 7 miles away from the farm was his last sighting. And they say he's such a shorty, it's hard to find him because the weeds are taller than he is. So he blends right in with all the leaves down on the ground. He's friendly but skittish, especially around people he doesn't know. So the owner keeps getting these Lefty sightings and goes out, and so far, no Lefty. But they say the people in the neighborhood have been awesome. Nobody really wants this Scottish coo running around their yard, but they've been very nice about it. And eventually, they say when they catch him, they're going to have a meet and greet at the farm where everyone will be able to give him a treat and get to know Lefty, the miniature Scottish Highland bull, who apparently is on a sightseeing tour of Connecticut at the present moment. What a cutie, though. Hopefully he's all right. Should we get to this? Is a kind of a cool feel good story. Sometimes technology is a little creepy, but in this particular case, it's an incident of technology being used for good. Ring is launching a new AI powered neighborhood watch program for finding missing dogs. They've got the cameras up anyway, so might as well keep an eye out for the creatures running past. The Ring cameras now are going to be used in the search for missing pets. They're leveraging their vast network of home security cameras to solve this common problem, missing dogs that have run away. This is a new free function on Ring, and it's called Search Party. And it allows users with outdoor facing cameras to help their neighbors track down missing dogs with the help of AI. So homeowners and renters enrolled in this program can help in the search, even if they've never even taken a step outside the house. They're not running the neighborhood, just using their camera. When a neighbor reports their dog missing in the Ring app, all of a sudden the nearby cameras enrolled in the search party will begin scouring for any trace of this missing pet. The cameras will look for possible matches and then send a notification to the camera owner if the AI technology believes the dog has been spotted. The notification will include a photo of the lost dog and any relevant footage that has been captured. And then the owner can look at it, the owner of the Ring, and decide whether or not it's relevant and whether or not to share the video with the neighbor that is missing the animal, or whether or not to ignore it. You don't have to participate. If you're a Ring user and you don't want to, you can opt out when this search function goes live in November. Can't imagine why you wouldn't want to use your Ring for good. Unless maybe you don't want people to know you have one. I don't know. Ring says this latest feature, Search Party, is part of an ongoing effort of supercharging neighbors helping neighbors. Simple privacy-first features like Search Party, they say, make it easier to look out for each other and build the kind of neighborhood that we all want to live in. The Search Party portion of the app, the Ring app, set to launch next month in select areas. And then they hope to include technology to spot missing cats in future updates as well. So we start with dogs, and then maybe we get to cats if it all works out. Ooh, science. Science. This is kind of creepy, I think, and weird. The development has been undertaken successfully, they say, to fertilize a human egg with material from human skin cells for the first time. So you wouldn't need sperm, you would just need to swab someone's skin. Experts in the UK say this is an exciting development that could one day open the door to creating egg or sperm-like cells for people that have no other options. So for whatever type of infertility means that you don't have access to an egg or sperm, other types of DNA could be used for procreation. This emerging process is called in vitro gametogenesis. Gametogenesis. In vitro gametogenesis, IVG instead of IVF. And it involves reprogramming skin cells to make them a type of stem cell instead. The researchers involved say this has immense therapeutic potential for people who don't have viable sperm or eggs. It works by taking the nucleus, part of the cell that stores the genetic material from a person's skin cells. These are then implanted in an egg with its nucleus removed, called the somatic cell nuclear transfer. But Cells made this way would mean a fertilized egg has too many chromosomes. So then there would have to be a method to remove the extra set. It has been studied in mice, but not with human cells at this point. In this new research, though, researchers in the United States conducted this process that they've called mitomeiosis. And it mimics natural cell division and it causes one set of chromosomes to be discarded, leaving a healthy cell that can actually be fertilized. 82 developing eggs, oocytes, fertilized with sperm in a lab using this method. 1 in 10 went on to the stage where cells rapidly divide about 6 days later, the blastocyst stage, which is when they would usually be transferred from the lab dish into a human uterus where they undergoing real IVF treatment. As always, more research is needed, but the scientists say this is a very exciting proof of concept. For the first time, this is the quote, for the first time, scientists have shown that DNA from ordinary body cells can be placed into an egg, activated, and made to have its chromosomes, mimicking the special steps that normally create eggs and sperm. They're saying this could one day transform the understanding of infertility and miscarriage and open the door to creating egg or sperm like cells for those who have no other options. I don't know if this is a valid thought, but there's some part of me that wonders if you start manipulating human reproduction like this, then it becomes different than just giving a helping hand, right? Uh, Introducing the sperm and the egg in a dish becomes kind of creating genetic material from something that you're changing the whole process, really. And so it becomes from a little helpful, Kickstarter, which I don't have a problem with, into something that then would the humans that were created by such a process still be strong and robust? Would there be something different about them? Would they be able to fight off disease as readily? Would they be able to reproduce? Would they be I don't know. I don't know. We get into an ethical gray area with so many questions. Hmm. This using genetic material from skin cells to generate an egg-like cell with the right number of chromosomes that could then form an embryo. I mean, I guess it's still human, right? Or is it? Yeah, I don't know. I have so many questions about the ethics and the, viability of this type of research. And I'm not against assisted reproduction technology. By all means, I had IVF. So I'm all for science and for helping people that are struggling, but you get to a point where maybe it's a bridge too far. I don't know. Human skin cells. And then you wonder, what if, what if someone then just decides they want you to be the DNA contributor to their child and they take a little swab of your skin without your knowledge, consent, what they're all of a sudden your DNA is in someone else's. I don't know. Now maybe I'm going off the deep end. Let's go back to the ocean. How about that? Hi, little beluga, baby beluga in the deep blue sea. It's a song from Jacob's preschool. You swim so wild and you swim so free. Um, there is a story that I kind of started to allude to on Mark's show, but I'd like to talk a little bit more about it because I think it's really good news. In Canada, The fisheries minister says rehoming whales from marine land to China would perpetuate the treatment that these types of creatures have had to endure, and they are refusing this request by Marineland, this theme park in Canada. Was trying to export 30 beluga whales to China because of concerns that the whales would face further mistreatment once they get to China. Marineland is an amusement park and a zoo and aquarium in Niagara Falls. They have one of the largest captive whale populations in the world. And they've also been called out for having poor conditions for these animals that are on display there. 20 whales, 19 belugas, and 1 orca have died at that park since 2019. So 20 in total, 19 of them belugas and 1 orca. They didn't open for their summer season this year. There's a lawyer for the Marineland Park that says that the company is planning to remove the remaining animals still on the grounds. Okay. Where to? What are you going to do with them now? There is another themeland type of park in China called Chimelong Ocean Kingdom. And they were trying to buy these belugas that the Marineland still has and is trying to get rid of. But the request has been denied. In Canada, the person responsible for approving such things says, "I could not in good conscience approve an export that would perpetuate the treatment that these belugas have endured. To approve the request would have meant a continued life in captivity and a return to public entertainment. Like many of you, I am angered these whales have lived a life in captivity, and as a result that their health has deteriorated." The Marineland Park declined after a law in 2019 that banned the sale, captivity, and breeding of dolphins and whales. And when that went into effect, it meant Marineland couldn't acquire any new animals. And since then, inspectors have attended the park more than 200 times. They have issued more than 33 different orders there. The belugas, though, at risk. So now what are they going to do? Last week in Ontario, the Premier, Doug Ford, we know him, he said at a press conference that they will do whatever it takes to give the remaining whales the best life possible. That it's just terrible for these animals in that park. So the only other alternative, if you're not going to sell them to another theme park then, would be for the animals to live somewhere with strict laws that preserve their well-being. And that the United States is probably the best option. What do you do? I mean, in many cases, you can't just dump these animals back in the sea and say, fend for yourself, can you? So they're not going to be put back into the ocean to live a wild and free life, unlike the song. So what happens? You put them in a zoo or aquarium that has a really, really large habitat or tank for them. You care for them for the rest of their lives. And you don't make them do tricks for humans. I mean, that's the best option at this point. No option is good. We shouldn't have been capturing them in the first place, right? Now what, though? Now we're at the point where, okay, now what? As Mark said earlier on the show, if you haven't seen Blackfish, it's a documentary that is not to be missed. The reason I have never taken my kids to Discovery Kingdom in Vallejo, I just can't support companies that would do this to animals. So that's what we have. Canada taking a stand and saying, nope, China can't have these belugas. No can do. Shall we get to the lotto of the day? Look at this lady, Alfreda. She's got herself $100,000. She had a lottery ticket that she found in the back of a closet. Good thing she found it in time. She's from Virginia. She was cleaning house and she found a box of lottery tickets in her closet. One of them turned out to be a $100,000 big winner. There was a box and a closet that had some unscratched lottery tickets. And one of them was a game called Extreme Cash. But they weren't lying on that one. And so she scratches it and she discovers that it's a $100,000 win. As she said, I almost passed out. It was amazing. She purchased the ticket from the Shop and Go on the Mechanicsville Turnpike. She hasn't made plans for her winnings yet, but 100,000. Maybe she won't have to be cleaning closets for a while. She can hire somebody to do that. Perhaps. Okay, before we get to trivia, how about we get to the best taco in America? Make you hungry right around lunchtime? Oh, that's pretty good. That's the best taco in America right there. It is in Southern California. According to Yelp, the best taco in America is at the Barrera Family Castro. It is in North Hollywood on Vineland Avenue. They have a closely guarded family recipe for birria, Birria, birria. The spot, small, humble, in the San Fernando Valley, ranks number 1 for 2025. The owners say, our birria is a family tradition passed down from my grandmother, this is the owner saying this, who learned it from her mother. His name is Anthony Castro, the man who's saying this. He owns the restaurant with his mom and his dad, Gemma and Jose Castro. That's pretty good. There's a bunch of you looking up the Yelp best taco ratings because 45 of the top 100 best tacos on the list mean that nearly everyone in California can enjoy a great taco. There's the Roundhouse Deli in Roseville, Whole Box in Los Angeles, Nico's Tacos in Roseville, Marisco's El Chito in Los Angeles, Texas, Arizona, and Hawaii following California for the highest number of taco places on the list. All top 100 taco spots for 2025 can be found in the article on yelp.com. Yeah, cool. The birria tacos are extremely popular, but Yelp also indicates bat-shaped vampiro tacos, which are a street food from Sinaloa, Mexico, are an emerging favorite as well. And you can also get vampiro tacos at the Barrera Family Castro. So they think these bat tacos are going to make their way across the country soon. Little taco update for you. Alrighty, you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Let's get to it. It is time for Trivia Thursday, after party style. Go into the chat. Here's everybody. Hi, you guys. And root beer floats. Sandy says, I get birria ramen at a place in San Jose. Probably not traditional, but it sure is good on a cold and chilly day. Trevor thinks he's going to suck at military trivia. You might be surprised. You might be surprised. Yeah. I mentioned them, but if you want more information, check out the article on Yelp, Best Tacos for 2025. All right, here we go. You ready? Here we have our trivia. Okay. Let's do military trivia first. What is the only branch of the U.S. military to share a name with a best-selling line of Nike sneakers? What is the only branch of the U.S. military to share a name with a best-selling line of Nike sneakers? We're easing our way into it. Yeah, it is. Heather has it. It is Air Force. There she said. Air Force. That's what it is. Heather has it. Phineas has it. I don't think they have Space Force sneakers yet. Maybe they do. I don't know. Air Force, says Maud. Yes. And Jim and SJ. I was easing you into it, Phineas. There you go. Air Force, says Liz and Mama and Jane and Sandy. There you go. See? It's going to be good. Onager, trebuchet, and ballista are medieval examples of what type of weapon? Onager, trebuchet, and ballista are medieval examples of what type of weapon? Think about what type of weapons they used in medieval times. Catapults is correct. Oh, I think that Heather had it first. Heather's killing it on military trivia. Catapult is the correct answer. Heather has it. SJ has it. So does Nullifidian and John Watson and William and John Slade and Trevor, who said he wasn't going to do very well on military trivia. And look at him with the answer. Hello, hello. And Phineas and Tammy. Nice. Heather's getting ready for her own dictatorship. Yeah. You know, I like the way you rule, Heather. I might actually like to live in your land. All right. Next question. Which branch of the military, US military, is actually older than the United States because it was formed by George Washington in 1775, while the United States wasn't technically established until 1776? Which branch of the military is actually older than the United States? That would be the Army, says Deidre. Deidre's right. So is Trevor and Jim and Rev and Finn and Calvin, Nancy, Tammy, Sandy, Nullifidian. Jane has it, and so does Heather. Good job. I might have guessed Navy too, Rob, because for some reason I think of George Washington in a boat on the Potomac. So I don't know. Might have been my answer as well. All right. U.S. Navy SEALs train at a school called BUD or BUDS, which stands for basic. What kind of demolition SEALs? What is the U? The U in BUDS stand for? The question was asked in an odd way. My apologies. The U.S. Navy SEALs train at a school called BUDS. In that acronym, BUDS, what does the U stand for? It stands for... Yeah, you guys got it. It stands for underwater. Let's see who had it first. It stands for underwater, and that would be Deidre. Or John said underwater as well. Good job. Sorry for the awkward question. John has it. Deidre has it. Phineas has it. So does Calvin and Blue Spark and Eileen. And Rev and John and Sandy and Jim and Heather. Nancy, Tammy, Lola. SJ or Santee. Yeah. All right. Good job. Looks like everyone got that one. The Battle of the Three Emperors, also known as the Battle of Austerlitz, saw Austro-Russian forces defeated by an army led by which military political leader in 1805? The Battle of the Three Emperors, the Battle of Austerlitz, saw the Austro-Russian forces defeated by an army led by which military political leader in 1805? How do you guys know that one? I would see. I don't think that's an easy question, but I guess the word emperor kind of makes it obvious. William says this is Napoleon, and he is correct. William is correct. Jim says Napoleon. So does John Watson and Santee and Nullifidian. SJ has it. So does Rev P, Gordon, Eileen. Good job. Napoleon Dynamite says Blue Spark. What nickname was given to the 10th Cavalry Regiment of the U.S. Army in 1866 and eventually became synonymous with all of the Army's African American regiments? What nickname was given to the 10th Cavalry Regiment of the U.S. Army in 1866, eventually becoming synonymous with all of the Army's African American regiments? That's right. It is, as Jim says, Buffalo Soldiers. Yep. Which just makes me think of a Bob Marley song. Jim has it. John Slade has it. So does Rob. Hi, Rob. So does SJ and Calvin and Teacher Lori. And Rev P has it. So does Santee and Gordon and Tammy. Good job. Deidre, I knew it, but I just couldn't pull it out. Yeah. Phineas also has it. Oh, buffed soldiers. In the buffed soldiers. No. Buffalo Soldiers. What let's do this. The Swiss Constitution prohibits Swiss citizens from participating in foreign military service except for the military unit responsible for guarding what enclave city in Europe? The Swiss Constitution prohibits Swiss citizens from participating in foreign military service except for the military unit responsible for guarding what enclave city in Europe? And it would be the Vatican. SJ Lola has it. So does Stinky Charcoal. Hi, Stink. Hi, Stinkaroo. It's Cranky Charcoal. Come on. Vatican says Rev P. Jim says Vatican. So does John. So does Heather. Pope is appropriate. Yeah. Thanks, Gordon. Santee says Vatican. So does Tammy and Teacher and Eileen. And Gordon and Nancy. Mama has it. So does William. Nice. You guys are doing really, really well at military trivia. What was the name of the failed mission by CIA-sponsored paramilitary troops in 1961 to overthrow Fidel Castro in Cuba? What was the name of the failed mission by CIA-sponsored paramilitary troops in 1961 to overthrow Fidel Castro in Cuba? The name of the failed mission was... Jim says the Bay of Pigs, and Jim is right. And so is Deidre. I know, but that's the fun of trivia, to hear your name called out for getting it right, right? Eileen has it right. I see Eileen, and I see Phineas, and I see William Martinez, and they all got it right. So does Trevor, and Sandy, and Daniel. Hi, Daniel. And John Slade, and Rev P, and Nancy V. I don't have to call out the right ones. Do you guys want me to just kind of skip over that? I could do that. Just read the questions and not the answers? I don't know. Nullifidian has it right. So does Teacher and Rob. Yeah. And Tammy and Gordon. Well done. Oh, Rhonda has it. Yeah. And I even get a little piggy from Santee. Nice. I like that. What military rank denotes a low, non-ranking commissioned officer in the U.S. Army, ranking above a private first class and below a sergeant? And this kind of makes it obvious. It was Max Klinger's rank on the TV show MASH. It's the military rank that denotes a low, non-ranking commissioned officer in the U.S. Army, above a private first class, below a sergeant. And the answer is a... See who got it first. It is a... corporal. John Slade says it. I think you're the first to say it. Well done. At least on my screen. John Slade says corporal. Nolophidian says corporal. Corporal Klinger, remember? Yeah. Is NCO another word for corporal? I don't know. Jim Shields says corporal. So does Calvin and Tammy and Phineas and SJ and Rev. And teacher Lori has corporal. Yeah, Corporal Klinger gave it away. Phineas said that. And so did Daniel D. and Santee. I knew it. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, next question. Here we go. This is a quote from who? From who? From whom? A pint of sweat will save a gallon of blood. That's a quote attributed to which hero of World War II? A pint of sweat will save a gallon of blood. Not George Santos. No. Mm-mm. It is Patton. Deidre has it. So does Jim. So does Phineas. So does SJ and Nolophidian and Rev P. Yeah. So does Calvin and Eileen and George T. Scott. That probably counts. That's who I think of as Patton. William has it, and so does Gordon. And so does Santee. Yeah, that's attributed to Patton, whose name was also Old Blood and Guts. Which typically improvised incendiary weapon is named after a Soviet politician and diplomat who died in 1986? Which typically improvised incendiary weapon is named after a Soviet politician and diplomat who died in 1986? Oh, you guys are so good and quick. It is the Molotov cocktail. Jim Shields has it. So does Trevor. Yep. So does Rob T and Rev P and William. SJ Lola. Not the kind of cocktail you want. Sandy has it. So does teacher Lori and Santee. And so does Tammy and Jane. Yikes. Mama wants us to know Molotov is also the name of a really cool band. We'll have to check that out. Come on. In 2021, which military branch made up a whopping 37% of Lockheed's new veteran hires? In 2021, which military branch made up a whopping 37% of Lockheed's new veteran hires? It was indeed the Air Force, and Jim Shields has it. So does Deidre, Rob Thomas, and Air Force says Eileen. Where is it? I'm all crazy now. Air Force says Eileen and Gordon and Santee. Nice. Air Force it is. All right. I'm kind of liking these military questions, and you guys are really good at it. The question with this one, Black Hawk Down, recounted the Battle of Mogadishu and its role in the aborted early 90s UN peacekeeping mission in what Horn of Africa country? Black Hawk Down recounted the Battle of Mogadishu and its role in the aborted early 90s UN peacekeeping mission in what Horn of Africa country? What country did that happen in? Yeah. Deidre has it. First on my screen, Somalia is correct. Somalia says William Martinez. Rev P has it as well. Stinky Charcoal has it. You're killing me. Jim Shields has it. Calvin has it. So does Phineas and Gordon and SJ. That little one over there, you know. Santee has it. Yeah, that was Somalia. Learning from World War One, the Germans famously stockpiled ample oil and gasoline supplies for what lightning war method of warfare that they employed in World War Two? I'll read it again, but you probably don't need me to. Learning from World War One, the Germans famously stockpiled ample oil and gasoline supplies for what lightning war method of warfare that they employed in World War Two? Yes, the answer is blitzkrieg. And Heather says, yeah, that's the blitz. Jim says that's blitzkrieg. William has blitzkrieg. Well done, everyone. Lots of people getting this one right. Stinky and Rob. You really want to go by Stinky? Stinky or Cranky? I don't know. Rob has it. Calvin has it. SJ has it. Rev has it. Eileen has it. So does Phineas and Tammy and Nullifidian and Teacher. Gordon, Sandy. Yeah, everybody got this one right. Jane, Rhonda. Good job, everyone. Okay. Fought between El Salvador and Honduras in 1969, the Hundred Hours War is also known by a name referring to which sport? This was a war fought between El Salvador and Honduras in 1969 called the Hundred Hours War. It's also known by another name referred to by what name that is also a sport? Hmm. Jim says soccer. The answer is football. And not FUTFOOT. But I don't know if they're referring to soccer or football. So I'm going to accept soccer because I don't know if they mean like football, like we in America think of football, or if they think of soccer. And I'm guessing that because it's a different country, because in every other country, football is soccer, right? I'm going to say that. So I'll take it. Mama says my husband is called Tio Stinky. That's funny. Deidre says football. Sandy says soccer. Take it all. Gordon says football. Pickleball. No. No. Mama says football. Yeah. So that's probably right. Okay. U.S. Army beret analogy. Green beret is to U.S. Army Special Forces as tan beret is to U.S. Army what? Green beret is to U.S. Army Special Forces as tan beret is to U.S. Army what? Yeah, Deidre has it. Rangers is right. Tan beret. The U.S. Army Rangers have the tan. Not raspberry. No. Good job on that one. You got it fast. This was my dad's idol. Someone he respected greatly. He did active duty in the Vietnam War, was promoted to a 4-star general in the late 80s, and served as the Secretary of State as well. Who is this noted American? He did active duty in the Vietnam War, was promoted to a 4-star general in 1989, and served as Secretary of State. Who is this noted American? Yeah, you guys got this pretty quickly. This was Colin Powell. Jim Shields has it. So does Deidre. So does William and Rob and SJ and Heather and Rev. Rhonda has it. Sandy has it. Jane has it. Well done. Okay, we can do one more of these maybe? Let's do this one. Sharing a name with Captain Nemo's vessel in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, what was the name of the world's first operational nuclear-powered submarine? Sharing a name with Captain Nemo's vessel In 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, what was the name of the world's first operational nuclear-powered submarine? It was the USS Nautilus, says Rev P, and that is correct. Jim has it. SJ Lola has it. So does Eileen and Nullifidian and Sandy and William. Teacher Lori has it. So does Tammy and Jane and Calvin and Santi. Good job, everybody. All right. Let's do some wacky trivia. In 2009, what became the first Morse code character to be added since World War II? In 2009, what became the first Morse code character to be added since World War II? It was what? That's exactly right. It was the @ symbol. Jim has it. Deidre has it. So does Nancy and Stinkaroo. And Blue Spark has it. And so does Sandy, Gordon, and Phineas. Yeah, it was the @ symbol. Well done. Mm-hmm. What kind of bulbs were once exchanged as a form of currency? What kind of bulbs were first exchanged as a form of currency? Mm-hmm. Tulip bulbs is right. Trevor has it. So does SJ and Nancy and Jim and Eileen and Gordon and Rev and Rob and Heather and Stink and Jane, William, Teacher Lori. Good job. The tulip bulbs is exactly right. Let's see if you can get this one. In what year was the internet opened to the public? If only we knew how big of a deal it would become. In what year was the internet opened to the public? Hmm. Let's see. I have a lot of guesses: a 96 and 94, a 95 and 92, and 89, 94, 94, 92, and 89, 92, 95, 96, 91, 92, 95. Nobody has said 93, although you are very, very close, hovering right around it. But the year was 1993. What is the two-word phrase for someone that claims the right to refuse military service based on religion, morals, or freedom of thought? What is the two-word phrase for someone that claims the right to refuse military service based on religion, morals, or freedom of thought? The answer is conscientious objector. Rev P has it. So does Jim and Trevor and William. And Eileen has it as well. And teacher Lori has it. And Sandy and Nullifidian. Good job. Heather says I had my first email address in 91. Maybe it wasn't open to the public yet. I don't know. That's interesting. I'm unsure. All right. Next question. When did Facebook first launch? Does anybody remember? When did Facebook first launch? (2005), 2007, a lot of fives, 2003. We do. We're playing trivia. Jane says 05. The answer is 2004. My friends and I, says Rev, were using the internet in 1986. Really? Wow. That's amazing. That's you guys were early. In the insurance business, what is the name of a person whose job it is to analyze statistics to calculate risks and price premiums accordingly? In the insurance business, what is the name of the person whose job it is to analyze statistics to calculate risks and price premiums accordingly? And what? Actuary, says Deidre. That's correct. An actuary. Nullifidian has actuary. So does SJ. I got the idea. Trevor says actuary. That's right. Eileen says actuary. So does Calvin and Jane and Gordon and Wes. Good job. There you go. Actuary is the correct answer. How about this one? What is the sixth sign of the zodiac? What is the sixth sign of the zodiac? Anybody know? This one would have tripped me up. Wouldn't have known it. I'm a Gemini. It's not Gemini. The sixth sign of the zodiac is Virgo. Eileen has it. That is correct. Well done. All right. And we will end it with, how about this one? Should we do an easy one or a hard one? Let's do a little movie trivia. How old was Rose in the Titanic movie when she was recounting her story? Remember Rose with a giant blue gem that she threw back into the sea? How old was Rose in the Titanic movie when she was recounting her story? Huh, that's funny, Trevor. 101, 18, Nullifidian says 27. I got a lot of 101s. You guys make me doubt myself. And Trevor with the obligatory 11,780. 102 says Wes. 103 says Nullifidian. Oh my goodness. Santi gets it right. 100. She was 100 years old. So there you go. What was the first Disney animated feature movie that was not based on an already existing story? What was the first Disney animated feature movie not based on an already existing story? And the answer is, do we know? Who has it? The answer is The Lion King. Sandy has it. Nice. Excellent. Well done. Okay, one more question, and then we'll wrap this bad boy up because I know I'm over an hour at this point. See how fast you can get it. You ready? Got your fingers ready? Who was the actor to first portray James Bond? Who was the actor to first portray James Bond? His name was... We might have had this one before. I don't know. George Santos. No. No. An American. Nope. Nope. No, no, no. Not seeing anybody up here with the right answer. His name was Barry Nelson. Barry Nelson. I didn't see if anybody had that. His name was Barry Nelson. Did anybody get it right? Nobody got it right. Sandy says Pierce Brosnan is my favorite. I really like him too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who? Who's that guy? I don't know. I don't know who that is. Come on now. All right. Thank you for playing along. I thought the military trivia went really well. I liked it. That is Trivia Thursday after party style. And I appreciate you guys playing along. Tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific time, the Nikki Maduro show will get underway. And that is cocktails, mocktails, and politics, or as Mark likes to call it, two drunk moms talking about the news. The Nikki Maduro show at 5 p.m. Pacific today. I do hope that you will join because it's always my favorite part of the week. Super fun show. And I would love to have you along to hang out and comment and chat and join in the conversation. Wes, thank you for the $5 you sent in via PayPal. You'll find the PayPal app in the show description and in the About tab here on YouTube. Thank you to Gretchen L., also Karen K., and Wes from yesterday as well. Thank you for helping fund the After Party Live. The show is crowdfunded, and you guys make a difference to doing that. So really appreciate it. Thank you also to everyone sending in stories. You'll find me at kim@theafterparty.live. That is the way to get a hold of me. If you have any ideas or stories to send in for the show, general comments, I'll take it all. All right. Until we meet again here on the internet in just a couple of hours, make it the very best rest of your Thursday possible.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.